What's going on YouTube? So the BMW X5 has long been one of the best-selling luxury SUVs and one of the most widely acclaimed models. But there's a new generation on the horizon, and we want to know today, is this still a great pick for 2026? And is there anything new this year? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Like always, let's kick things off with our spec dump. So the heart of this model stays the same this year with 4 different powertrain choices. We have the 40i model, which is a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder, making 375 horsepower. This can be paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Also, I want to mention that for 2026, the charge rate on the 50e model has increased significantly, and then our combined fuel economy for this model is 25 mpg.
Now, the base price of the X5 is $66,000 this year, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on, we're going to be taking this out for a spin. We're also going to be getting things like our sound level reading, and at the end, discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood so we can take a look at the exterior as well as the interior. So the quote-unquote conventional BMWs are being picked off one by one. However, this X5, as you can see, does retain for 2026 that traditional BMW appearance. So up in the front, of course, you've got the signature kidney grills. This is finished in a satin silver. You can also black this out if you want with the extended shadow line package, and we have the optional illumination on today's model. We also, on this model, have what is known as the M Sport. This is going to give you the more aggressive lower fascia here with these blacked out elements and a few more elements around the exterior and interior. Now, as far as the lighting, of course, you have standard full LED headlights. These are adaptive. They're very high-end looking. We also have that fading turn signal indicator on board that was added a couple years ago at this model's refresh. Moving on to the wheels, your sizing begins at 20 inches and then moves up from there. This is actually a 20-inch alloy we have on today's model. As you can see, we've got the contrast design with the gray finish going on. I think it looks quite nice and a nice subtle way. And of course, you do have the body color surrounds for your wheel arches as well as your lower fascia on the M Sport and a little black accent. Now, taking a look up here at our mirrors, these are fully loaded as you expect from a BMW luxury SUV, including auto dimming on the driver's side and power folding.
Now, at the side of the BMW X5, the overall vehicle length is 194.2 inches, and like Drew said, it has a very classy design with all the body color lower moldings, as well as the blacked out window surrounds and blacked out roof rails up top. Now, as far as the rear design is concerned, there are not going to be any major design changes for 2026, so it's your signature BMW X5 rear end. I think that's certainly a good thing. Some of the newer BMWs have gone the controversial route, and I think this is just classy and elegant. Now, breaking down what makes up this design. So we have a little bit of a spoiler up through here. We have an exposed rear wiper, our BMW branding. Then as far as our taillights are concerned, these are going to be a full LED taillight unit. They're very premium, so that includes your brake light, your turn signal, and your reverse light. As you can see, the turn signal kind of has that fading animation as well. As we drop down to the lower fascia, because we have the M Sport, this is all going to be a body color and gray finish. You're also going to have the integrated exposed exhaust outlets, which look quite nice. The tow rating is very impressive as well, 7,200 pounds. Now let's talk about your safety systems as well. Now, thankfully for 2026, BMW is not changing this because you do have a lot of very advanced systems. Now, what's standard is 3 out of your 4 active safety features. If you want adaptive cruise control, you will have to choose the driver's assistance package, and that will include adaptive cruise as well as a hands-free highway assistant at speeds of up to 85 miles per hour. Also, last year they added the functionality of you can just look in the mirror and the vehicle will go ahead and change lanes for you. So, like I said, very, very advanced. But guys, we need to dive into the interior, which is very luxurious, but does have a 2026 change. But first, If you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. Now, moving to the interior, we have our key fob, first of all. Typical BMW key fob. You have a standard smart entry system with digital key, and we also have the available remote start from the fob. Getting inside, just reach behind the handle, and that will unlock the door. And then, of course, taking a look inside the interior. Again, this is going to have a more conventional look than some of the newest BMWs and what we expect the upcoming X5 will have as well. But before we get into any of those specific details, let's talk about the seats. So as far as the material is concerned, this is called Sensafin. This is a faux leather, but I have to say, it is one of the most realistic faux leathers in the entire auto industry. It is so soft, it's so supple. I love the quilting details throughout. This is what is standard, and you can get this in 4 other colors as well. And then if you want real leather, you can option on the merino leather package. Down below, you've got 14 ways of power adjustment as standard equipment, including a power thigh extension and power adjusting bolsters. You can get 20 ways of adjustment with massage as well as an option. And then, of course, you have memory seats on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb on inside. And let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on the door trim, you have nice stuff pretty much everywhere you would touch. Leather from top to bottom through there. You also have a soft touch plastic even on the extreme lower parts of the door trim. Up at the top, that same leatherette material goes through with stitching details. You got a lot of different trim selections you can pick. As you can see, we've got a high gloss wood on board, but you can also get a matte finish if you prefer that. You have your light bar, which interacts with the virtual assistant, and then down through here, even more wood, real metal trim, more of the leather, and everything in here is just rock solid. This is really just a fantastic cabin. Continues to be impressive all these years after this generation debuted. But let's fire it up with the standard push button start. Now jumping into some individual features, we'll start with our gauge cluster. This of course has the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. It is reconfigurable. We also have the head-up display on today's model that's in the premium package, so almost every version of the X5 you get will come with the head-up display. Taking a look at the steering wheel, this does have the conventional steering wheel design. Really nice, leather wrapped on the outside as well as the airbag cover with your little M logo. Standard tilt, power, tilt and telescoping steering wheel, and you also have steering wheel heating as well. And then let's take a look at interior storage. So when I open up our center console here, you're going to find some donuts inside. That's because at Car Confections, we like to do the donut test to check the volume. This is not super large, that's for sure. It fits 9 donuts inside, so not quite the dozen that is required to pass the test. This is one area that we anticipate the next generation will do better in, is having a little bit more interior storage up here in the front, because other than that, you don't have a lot more. You just have your cup holder space, you have your wireless phone charging pad, which is standard by the way, and then you got this little cubby right through there, maybe enough room for a second phone, but overall not a lot of flexibility going on through there. The shifter is very small and out of the way, so you just pull back for drive, go the opposite way for reverse. When you go into reverse, we've got our 360-degree camera system popped up when you have the parking assistant package. And I can click into there, go into the 3D view, and then you can actually tap all around the vehicle there with those nice looking 3D graphics. Then just press the P there for park. You also have an electronic parking brake with brake hold function right next to that. And you also have some shortcuts to your different drive modes right through there. Now on this side of the shifter, you'll also notice that we have our iDrive controller. This is a touchscreen, but you also can control it with this rotary knob here. And that's something I do want to point out. BMW has confirmed that the X3 is the last model that's ever going to have this and be paired with the new iDrive system. So that means that the X5 in its next generation will definitely not have this. So if you like to use this and not put fingerprints on the screen, this is going away. Just want to point that out. Now, something that did go away for 2026 on this model is actually gesture control. So I'm getting ready to demonstrate the audio system, but you can no longer do this to turn up the volume. I'm not sure why that disappeared for just the last model year here, but nevertheless, you still retain a physical volume knob. Now, what we have is the 14 speaker Harman Kardon sound system on today's model. Let's give it a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality is very nice with this sound system. As with all BMWs, you can step up really as high as your budget allows. You can also get a Bauer & Wilkins Diamond Series sound system if you want something even more extravagant. Now, as we move up, let's take a look next at climate controls. That's inside of the display, as most recent BMWs have been doing. We actually have the available 4-zone climate on today's example, so you can obviously just adjust your temperature up and down right through there. Additional functions are located right here. And then you got the little shortcut where you can activate your standard heated seats and the heated steering wheel. Of course, ventilated seats are available as well. Now, as far as the screen itself, this is 14.9 inches as part of this dual screen arrangement. We would anticipate in the next generation that the screen will be upsized significantly, although this is still a very large display and is perfectly adequate for pretty much most people. You do have a built-in display on board, or maps display, excuse me, and you also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay both running wirelessly. Up top here, we've got an auto-dimming mirror with our HomeLink remotes built into the bottom of it. We have a really nice Alcantara headliner. And then I can press back right here, and we'll go ahead and open up the sunshade for our panoramic sunroof. As you can see, this is a large piece of glass, and this front panel does open up on this model. If it goes the same way as the new X3, though, the next generation might not have an opening panel anymore because that one is fixed in place.
So let's talk about the X5's rear seat as well. So first of all, let's discuss space. So when it comes to this, we're looking at 37.4 inches of legroom, 40.8 inches of headroom. That's nearly 41 inches of headroom. That is really fantastic, guys. Now the legroom's going to be a little bit on, the smaller end of the spectrum. However, the headroom is really, really good. And of course, we brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason we do that is so you can see how much knee room you can expect realistically. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and I'm 5'9". We are looking at 8 inches of knee room. That's quite good, and that's going to be enough space for the vast majority of adults you might be hauling along. We also have room underneath of the seat for my feet to slide, and I find these seats to be really, really comfortable back here. However, they do not recline, so that is something a little interesting about this model. Now, if you fold down the center armrest, you will find another little storage cubby right there. You can pop this out. That's going to give you 2 cup holders. As far as in the center, we have rear vents for our 4-zone climate control, which Drew mentioned earlier. We additionally have vents that are located here in the B-pillar, so you actually have vents coming at you from 2 different directions. That's really nice. And then you can, of course, get heated back seats. That's not on this model. We're pretty lightly optioned. Now we have a little storage cubby down here, as well as 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt outlet. Additionally, you'll find one more USB-C port in each seat back as well. Over on the door trim, it's going to be really nicely done. You can get rear sunshades. We do not have that on this model, but the materials are fantastic. Lots of leatherette going all through here, even some wood trim, ambient lighting, and the door storage is also really quite good. I would easily swallow up a water bottle or anything along those lines. Now, walking up to the tailgate, as expected, you do have a hands-free power tailgate, and in signature X5 fashion, you do have the split tailgate functionality. So that means that it's going to keep things from rolling if you're parked on a hill, and if you want to open it up fully, you you can just pop this down, and that's also going to allow you to have a nice area to sit for tailgates. Now, let's also talk about the overall cargo space, because I'm sure you're curious about that. We're sitting at 34 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats, and that expands up to 72.3 cubic feet of space. Now, those are both quite good space figures. And by the way, if you're curious as to how it compares to its competition, we've gone through all of the luxury midsize two-row SUVs, and we've ranked them on our website, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. You can see all things such as cargo capacity, as well as technology, powertrain choices, interior luxury. All the things that might matter to you as a luxury SUV shopper is detailed there for you in a chart, so you can sort based on the categories that are most important to you. If you want to make an informed buying decision, we definitely recommend you check that out. Now, back to this model. The seats do fold 40-20-40 split. However, they are not including handles to do it from the cargo area, so I will have to go up there and do it manually. Now that I've got those seats folded down, let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures, because this is a Car Confections review after all. We are sitting at 76 inches of cargo length behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. See how much cargo length we have behind the second row, 41 inches. As far as cargo opening, we're sitting at 43 inches wide. Cargo height, let me actually scoot that out of the way. Really good, 31 inches tall. And then as far as cargo load in height, let's take a look at that as well. So we're sitting at about 31 inches past this split tailgate. And then as far as underneath of the floor, you actually do have a lot of space. It's more than you would think. And the reason for that is because some versions of the X5, if you kind of special order it, you can get a third row, but it's, like I said, special order and not very common. So if you want that feature, I'd honestly recommend just go ahead and getting the BMW X7. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 BMW X5. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting our sound level reading, but we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration to show you what this powertrain is all about.
As quick as that, 60 miles an hour. So, of course, you already know what's underneath of the hood of this. This is the iconic B58, the inline 6 turbocharged. This one is rated for 375 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque, and as we've said numerous times in the past, two big things about this engine. First of all, it feels like it has much more power than it actually is rated at. That's kind of typical for BMWs. Second, it is just supremely smooth and refined.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Sounds nice as well.
I love this engine. If you have watched the channel for a while, I'm sure you probably already know that I really love this engine. It is very, very good. It's one of my very favorite engines, if not my favorite engine that's out there. And that's just because of what Drew said. It's very powerful, it's very refined, and it matches so well with this luxury SUV experience. Now, 0 to 60 on this is 5.2 seconds, and that's standard on every single X5, so that is really quite good. Now, if you want something faster, BMW does sell you quite a few different options, so you can get the 50e, which is the plug-in hybrid variant. That goes 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. Basically what that is this exact same motor, but you're also going to have the electrification on board as well, and the powerful electric motors. You can also get the M60 model, which is the V8. That's a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 making 523 horsepower, and that goes 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. That's also a fantastic engine option, but it is quite a bit more expensive, so keep that in mind. And then furthermore, they do offer things like the X5M, but for those of you that are just wanting a good luxury SUV experience, this is way more than enough.
Yeah, that is very quick. Before I talk about the transmission, I do want to take a second just to say that so many of the rivals have switched to turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, including probably the biggest rival to this, the Mercedes GLE. Even that does have a turbo 4-cylinder when you choose the standard model. So, you know, I think it really does stand out that this has the standard 6-cylinder. Don't know about the next generation. I have no idea
Hopefully.
if they will keep it, but I definitely hope that they will keep this as the base engine, because this is something that really stands out from almost anything else on the market. Now, about that transmission, it does have an 8-speed automatic. It's nice and smooth, as you can see. Pretty responsive when you put your foot down as well. We're just in the comfort mode right now, and I'll put it in the sport mode for the next acceleration so you can get a look at that.
Yeah, and as far as how power is routed to the ground, the vast majority of X5s will have standard X-Drive all-wheel drive. If you choose the 40 model, which is the base one, you can option on rear drive, or that's the standard configuration, but that's the only version that you can get rear drive in this model. That is so quick.
That is a lovely sound.
It sounds so good. All right. Let's go into comfort mode, as much as that pains me, because we need to get our sound level reading for the BMW X5. I went ahead and toggled it to fan speed 1, and let's see how quiet it is going 55. Went ahead and made sure that was a nice long sample, because it is very windy outside today. 52.2 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading for the 26 BMW X5. We don't sit here and guess how it compares to its rivals. We can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings and check out all of the rivals on our website. And when I do look at it compared to some of the rivals, that's not going to be the quietest X5 reading that we've gotten before. But like I said, we are actually under a wind warning. For whatever reason, it's super windy outside today. And to be getting that 52 decibels, that's still one of the very quietest cars that we've ever tested in this luxury segment. And it's extremely windy outside. As a matter of fact, the 2025 model year X5 that we did, almost in this exact same spec, got our quietest reading in the entire segment, 49.8 decibels. So if you're looking for a quiet cabin, BMW certainly has you covered here with this model. And now that we're just kind of cruising down this rougher patch of pavement, I do want to discuss ride quality as well. So when it comes to the X5, really they do a lot of things well. So when it's in comfort mode, it does a supreme job of just isolating out all the road imperfections and making sure you don't feel any of that. And then when it's in sport mode, it does also have a sporty character. Drew will talk about that in just a second. But it really is a dual character vehicle. It does that very nicely. I do want to point out here with the M Sport package, you do get the adaptive M suspension, so that does also help you to have that adaptability. But we've also tested out models that had just the standard suspension, and that's very good as well. So don't feel like you need to get the adaptive suspension or the air suspension that is offered, because really the standard setup is also very good.
Yeah, this is super good at isolating out all of these bumps that are in the road. And like Mason was saying, this does still have a good athletic character, as you'd expect from a BMW. When it's in sport mode, the steering firms up nicely. It's not overly aggressive or anything. They kind of reserve that, for the M models, but it definitely gives you enough of a sporty edge that you'll enjoy driving it on a back road.
And let's discuss fuel economy as well. So because this model is a mild hybrid, you might have seen that, kind of going through this drive, that it will turn off before you come to a stop. Because of that, we have some really impressive efficiency numbers here. So for a vehicle that has nearly 400 horsepower standard, you're still sitting at 23, 27, 25 mpg combined. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm really not sure how BMW is able to achieve those numbers with that type of power and out of a 6-cylinder. Very impressive stuff. Now, if you want maximum efficiency, you can also get the 50E, which is the plug-in hybrid variant. That goes 39 miles on a single charge. And like Drew said at the very beginning of this video, that's actually an area where they did do some updating for this 2026 model, so it charges a little faster than before. It can charge it up to speeds of 11 kilowatts as compared to 7.4 before. So it's faster charging, and it's one of the best plug-in hybrids that you can get. And of course, the V8s are going to be significantly lower at 19 and 15 miles per gallon combined. Let's talk about our airball in Slam Dunk. Drew, kick us off with the Slam Dunk on the X5.
I think the Slam Dunk has just got to be how well this has aged. Incredibly, this is on its 8th model year, which is hard to believe because this still feels so fantastic. And I really will I'll just leave it at that. You've heard us talk about this throughout the review, but it really has just aged so gracefully.
Yeah. On the airball side of things, what we're going to say is the price. Now, I know we haven't quite hit all the pricing just yet, but this model is very lightly optioned. We're missing almost all the options, really. And we're still sitting at around $78,000, so it's not cheap. That's to say the least. If you want all the options, you will be paying a lot for the X5. And let's discuss pricing for the X5. As I said at the very beginning, you start at around $66,000 this year. And this particular model is actually pretty lightly optioned. So you can see we have the 26 X5 40i. We do have X-Drive. We have a couple options, as you can see right there. $1,175 is still your destination charge. We're sitting at $77,850 as tested today. And just know that you can pretty much get an X5 at nearly any price point. If you go all the way up to the M, it can be well past $140,000. So it's really whatever you want to spend on this model. And if you're looking to buy a BMW X5 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that connects you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so we definitely recommend checking that out. You can find it in our video description or at the pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this BMW X5's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 41.19% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 15.3%. Now, it's worth noting those are lower than average resale value percentages. It's actually one of the lowest brands. However, that is very common for German luxury brands and is very much similar to Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and even brands like Cadillac.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, BMW is rated just slightly above the overall industry average with the latest 2025 data.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values or our reliability information, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, I also do want to point out your warranty. You do have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. However, one nice thing that they are including is a 3-year service plan, so that's going to be pretty much everything, including general maintenance. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 BMW X5. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.